Hi, my name is George Eliadis. I'm the founder and senior instructor of the Jeet Kune Self-Defense Training Center. And today we're going to talk about a little bit of trapping. We're going to be using trapping as an attack. And some people don't know what trapping is, so I'm going to kind of go over some basic trapping here. So I'm going to be accompanied here by Wayne. Basically, trapping is a form of hand mobilization. If I have a person getting ready to fight and he throws a strike at me, I can aggressively trap and strike immediately, okay? If he had a weapon in that hand and was doing the same thing, I would utilize the same type of attack. It's not a grab, it's a check, but it's a check and a hit, okay? Personally, when I trap, I like to zone away from the rear hand because if the rear hand comes in, it's going to have less meat on it over here. Some people like to do is put themselves right in the center so they can go into a lot of this type of stuff. That's great too. I'm not saying that's wrong. That's just one aspect. That's the way we do things over here. Another thing I kind of want you to think about is that's called a Pak-Sao. So it's trained from what we call a reference point in here. It's a slapping hand which pins, and then you strike from here. Okay? Some people like to do it and keep their head up when they do it. Some people like to keep their head back when they strike. I kind of like to roll my shoulder in case he throws a rear hand. I'm kind of covering up. Everybody's going to do that slightly different, okay? So I have basically a boxing type of background in this stuff, so I just kind of apply that when we're doing any of this type of trapping. Another thing we have is what we call a lop-sao, okay? And you'll see a lot of people will try to do, these are brother and sister techniques. I try the lop-sao, they can't get in, and what I do is I do what we call a pulling hand, and I strike from here, okay? Which is a devastating movement, all right? Nowhere are you going to apply it in real life in that. Maybe he's striking at me, and I go to strike him, boom! And I hit. And that's the idea behind it. Again, notice that I've zoned away from the rear hand, and that's where I'm putting myself. That allows me the option. Most likely he's going to try to turn and strike me with some sort of spinning movement because he's pulled himself out of perspective. So if he does like a spinning back fist or something like such, he's exposed his back. I can strike the back of his neck, the back of his spine. Okay? That's what I'm going to go with. So these are brother and sister techniques. So we usually drill at what we call a reference point. Here, here. Okay? Maybe he's yelling at me, he's pointing his finger at me. Hey! And I hit. And I can repeatedly hit that same hand. Okay? So kind of think of trapping as a byproduct of hitting. Notice that when he did throw the first punch at me, I'm trying to hit here. Okay? It wasn't successful, and then I employed this. Okay? I'm not looking to do any of this stuff. This happens incidentally. Okay? I'm not looking to do it. Once I look to do something, I get too attached to something. It's like almost premeditating an attack plan or predetermining something. Then your opponent reads you, and if they can read you, you got a problem, and you don't want that to occur. So trapping is a byproduct of hitting, but it's an option that can be very useful, especially if someone has a weapon in their hand. Very important. So when we did it at the lop-sao, and I was grabbing and hitting, some people are very against grabbing the knife hand because the person can articulate the knife and they can cut you and all that stuff. But when you're grabbing someone, pummeling the hell out of them, their state of consciousness is not going to go into a fine motor movement as they're getting pummeled repeatedly. Okay? Krav Maga uses that technique. It makes complete and total sense to me. It's just I'd rather not get stabbed by that arm and control that or break that wrist while I'm striking and have that as an option. Just kind of think of that stuff. So trapping can work really good against weapons. Thank you.